Hi everyone, welcome to Have You Heard? And today we are listening for the first time to a solo Steve Hackett, the famous Genesis guitarist, of course, Steve. And this is his first solo album, Voyage of the Acolyte, released in 1975. And we're going to be listening to the famous long final track, Shadow of the Hierophant, about 11 minutes worth. But what a song! Co written with Mike Rutherford of Genesis. And there's Phil Collins on bass, Phil Collins on drums. Oh my gosh, it's been a long day. Um, but this was his first solo album that he recorded shortly after Peter Gabriel announced his departure from Genesis in 1975. And all the guys had some spare time and they were, I kind of guess, wondering what the hell was going to happen. Um, they hadn't come to the Phil Collins is our vocalist decision yet. So Steve had a lot of songs and a lot of stuff that he had been doing, and he recorded this solo album. I say solo album, he's got lots of friends helping out, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But let's listen to the song first of all. It is quite folksy, it is quite rocky, it is memorable. And I had the pleasure about 18 months ago of seeing Steve Hackett perform this live in Manchester, and it was an experience I will never forget. So here we go. Shadow of the Hierophant by Steve Hackett, released in October 1975 from the album Voyage of the Acolyte. Here we go. Excuse me. When I saw Steve Hackett and his band play at the Bridgewater Hall in Manchester in October of 24, that was, of course, the encore, and it just built and built and built. And by the end of that outro, the whole theatre was shaking. I promise you, it felt like it anyway. Absolutely shaking. The power of the music was astonishing. Um, and it was brilliant. The vocalist on the night, I think his touring female vocalist is Amanda Lehman. This was Sally Oldfield, of course. Amanda did a brilliant job. But what, what an experience. And that gig was wonderful. He played lots of Genesis stuff, of course. He did all his famous parts in Genesis. He did a few of his solo works as well. It was brilliant, and I bought his last solo album in the hall afterwards. I had to. It was it was wonderful. Yeah, who was in the band? Well, Mike Rutherford is playing bass on this track, and Mike co-wrote it with Steve. He wrote the ending, the outro section, I believe. He had written that for a song on Foxtrot that never actually happened, so it was hanging about there. And Mike and Phil Collins were there to help when Steve needed them when he was doing this album. And Mike must have donated that piece of music to him. So that was lovely. Who else is on? John, Steve's brother, plays flute and synthesizer and bells, and he tours with him to this present day. There's John Aycock on keyboards, Robin Miller on oboe and cor anglais, and this whole quite an unusual mix of instrumentation, and that is still what he plays with to this present day. And there's Nigel Warren Green, who plays cello. I'm not too sure whether that's on this particular track or just on other tracks in the album. And then, of course, Sally Oldfield on vocals. Super, super album. Well worth getting into if you haven't. All the Genesis fans that I knew had it. I actually was a little bit late to it. I had it on vinyl and lost the vinyl, and then about 6 or 7 years ago I said, no, I've got to get this back, and so I bought it on CD. So good. And of course, Steve Hackett is still playing to this very day. And I tell you what, he's the youngest looking 76-year-old I've ever seen. Can you believe that he recorded this album at the age of 25 and he left Genesis at the age of 27? So he's been out of Genesis for nearly 50 years, and yet he's still, of course, revered by all Genesis fans. I wonder what it's like to have lived 50 years and be revered for doing something that you did way back as a young man. It must be quite strange. I wouldn't know. I haven't done anything to be revered back in my 20s, I don't think. I've got a couple of stories, but nothing earth-shattering at all. Yeah, the life of a musician in today's day and age is remarkable. Obviously, some musicians are happy to put up their feet and retire gracefully. Others just love playing. And I can think of quite a few people who possibly shouldn't be playing now. They should have retired. I'm not going to name any names, but Steve Hackett isn't one of them. Steve puts on a show, his band put on a show. Steve is great. I'm tell you what, he's 3 years older than me. He looks about 10 years younger than me. And what a talent he has. I hope you enjoyed listening to that. If you hadn't heard it before, I'm thrilled that you've listened to it with me. If you did know it, then it's great to listen to these classics again, isn't it? There's only 4 or 5 reactions on YouTube to the Shadow of the Hierophant. Heaven knows why. The best reaction, I think, is the Daily Doug, is Doug Helvering. He really enjoyed it, and it's fascinating watching somebody who can pick out chords and things just like that, and he's searching and wondering what the next chord will be. A really nice reaction that is, if you haven't seen that one. Um, but yeah, it's an underrated, probably a little bit obscure if you're not a Genesis fan. He qualifies. This particular track definitely qualifies into that underrated and obscure tracks that we are championing. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got lots of songs on the playlists for you to listen to, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Have You Heard, which will be tomorrow, because of course we do one every day. So until then, cheers everybody.